Hi there, this is Self-Critical Automaton, and this is episode 6, I think, of my Let's Play of Resident Evil 4. And yeah, Leon's had a nice nap, and now it's time to go outside into the driving rain. Fun fact, the weather has been a lot like this here where I am, although it's nice and sunny now. So, this is the point where, aside from the giant lake monster, this is the point where Leon starts to figure that, these aren't just cultists or criminals or whatever. These are like there is something supernaturally wrong. If he didn't conclude that from the giant lake monster, of course. So, this is the point at which we first kind of see these, upgraded, sort of like level 2 Ganados. Oh, I'm glad he missed. Once they start waving around like that, you got to be really careful because they can kill you in one hit if they want to. So yeah. Shame about the weather, but otherwise, seems to be working fine. It's worth noting that he did not decide to tell Hunnigan about the lake monster, and he doesn't, after seeing a man's head turn into a writhing mass of tentacles, he doesn't, think to phone up his handler and be like, so these aren't just, bad guys, these are, actual for realsies monsters, therefore it's okay that I shot them all, right? But no, he just carries on his merry way. There's actually one guy in this entire area, and it's him. And normally he would fall down, but okay. Nice miss, dude. For some reason that guy has way lower hit points than they usually do. But yeah, this whole area feels like it's supposed to be part of a puzzle. Just see if I can grab that. Glad I remembered, because I only found out about that one, the other day. Ever since I was 15, I've been missing that incredibly precious, ordinary, low-level piece of loot. But yeah, this whole area feels like it's supposed to be some kind of complex puzzle, but I don't know if they cut a more complex puzzle, or if there wasn't supposed to be a puzzle, but they wanted to make it slightly more complex than it is. Regardless, this whole area, you may recall there was a note in the previous episode about something important hidden behind the waterfall. I mean, it almost feels like the designer was worried people wouldn't be able to figure out that there was, an obvious thing to do here. People would just reach this area and then be like, well, this is a dead end, time to turn around. So they added the note about the waterfall, but kind of the vast majority of people who play games tend to play it in a way where it's like, oh, this is a dead end, there must be something here. Even if it wasn't, obvious that there was nowhere else to go and, stuff to investigate here, and in the process of investigating you inevitably find things like this lever. So, once again, the level of technology here is kind of pretty absurdly variable. But yeah, I forgot to do it, but if you go up and try and go through the waterfall before you, dam it off, Leon's like, oh no, it's too, the flow is too strong. Doesn't look that strong to me. I assume he's worried about getting his hair wet, because, wouldn't you be? Look at that. That amazing, 90s boy band haircut. Is that man wearing glasses? So yeah, the utility of the Punisher pistol and its ability to shoot through two people at once is well evidenced here There's also another upgrade that the villagers have discovered here, which is they now have the ability to breathe fire sometimes. They blow across a torch, so presumably they're doing the old real-life fire breather trick of, you know, spitting kerosene over a flame. But you never see them drink from a bottle or anything. What I want to know is, why was there that one guy wearing pretty modern-looking, like, quite nice frames? That was, like... Everyone else here looks like they're from 1802, so why was that man wearing glasses from, you know, 2002?
I've obtained an object that resembles a cult group's insignia.
Wonderful, Leon. Head back to the church. Ashley's safety is our immediate priority.
Soon as he hangs up, he's like, oh, I forgot to mention the tentacle monsters again. Probably should have brought that up. Oh well. Actually, speaking of frames, I really like Hannigan's. I quite like some frames like that for my glasses. So this is going to zip us back across to the other side of the lake. And, yep, in case you were wondering why there was a suspicious underground dock by the shop earlier, this is why. I'm going to make a safety save. I'm going to overwrite this one because that's from a failed attempt to do this episode yesterday. So, yeah, there's not actually anything I can get from the shop guy at the moment, so, well, nothing I need, so let's just move straight on. So, we're about to go fight our second boss, and that's right here on the left. But first, I'm actually going to follow the route back down to the lakeshore, back where we were... Oh Christ. Oh dear. It's really not Leon's day, is it? Is he gonna... Yep, there he goes. So you gotta watch out for that whirling attack. That will behead you in one hit, if you're not careful. But yeah, any of the guys who have torches can do that fire-breathing attack, so you gotta be careful. And, actually, now that I think about it, perhaps the, volatile material that they're breathing across the flames is generated in some way by the parasites. That's a pretty reasonable in-universe explanation for it, I think. Also, barrels. I have discovered that some barrels are definitely replaced. Wait, no, that's not what I mean to say. Some barrels are definitely pre-scripted with what they contain, and some aren't. So, yeah, if you go down this path again, lots of... Ha, smooth dodge. Lots of the baddies have respawned, and so has all of the loot. And there's also a bonus encounter that you only get if you go this way, which is useful for... Oh dear. Yep, okay. Okay, he's got a... You can kill them with a knife, but it's pretty dangerous because you're in scything range. So generally speaking, you want to back off for these guys. If I'm understanding it correctly, damage done to the body still hurts the monster head. However, you do a lot more damage to it if you shoot it in the monster head. So it's generally best to aim there for efficiency purposes, because that's what we're all about here. So in a moment we'll go find a new enemy type, but yeah. I think of these guys with the exploding heads, well no, they all have exploding heads, with the monster heads as being like the stage 2. Later on we'll find the stage 3 guys. Egg, fantastic, a gold one. Egg. But yeah, so that's worth keeping. Also, this is pretty fun. If you equip an egg, he just holds it in his hand like it's a grenade, and if you have multiple, they line up on his belt just like the grenades do as well. So yeah. And they do actually have a use in that manner. If you throw an egg at an enemy, it stuns them. Much like... oh, there he is. Much like a stun grenade would stun them, however, only the person you hit, not anybody. You may also have noticed that their eyes are glowing. It's not entirely clear if that's like progression of the disease or if it's because it's just at night. Presumably their eyes look red in the daytime because they're glowing, but it's daytime so you can't tell, and then at night they have horrible red eyes. Whereas I just have red eyes all the time because I don't get enough sleep. Oh my goodness. So that was pretty close. So, yeah, as I was saying, this hadn't occurred to me before, but I like the idea that the ones who breathe fire are spitting out some kind of volatile material from their disgusting internal parasites. An interesting thing to note is that of all the guns in the game, the TMP is the only one that actually has its real life name. It is a Stair TMP, and why so many of them have changed names but that one doesn't, I do not know. And here we have the first wolf encounter. So, wolves are pretty tough, and they will kill you pretty easily if you're not paying attention, which I really ought to be, but apparently am not. If you see them coming, you can deal with them pretty easily. But of course here you have the difficulty of immediately emerging into them. That's about it. There's a little bit more to grab here, but then through the magic of editing we will disappear and reappear back over by the boss arena. So, you may have noticed that in addition to all the boxes, the birds' nests have respawned. However, they don't actually have anything in them, so I won't waste a bullet smashing it. Box. Nothing in that one. Some of the boxes are definitely randomised, and I know that because I tested it earlier, and some of the boxes are not randomised. Again, tested it earlier. The box with a grenade in near the waterfall, for example, always has a grenade in. Yep, and that's all of this. As you can see, there's no boat here, so yeah, because I left it in the underground lake. No, there's two boats. I took one from the other side of the waterfall. There's an underground boat and there's an outdoors boat. And now we will hurry. And we're back. So I'm just going to scurry down here and make a safety save because it is a boss fight. It's a pretty easy one, but you never know. And yeah. There's an interesting thing I should talk about, which is that all the way back in, I think episode 1, I mentioned that the first handful of, I hope that was the right thing I just overwrote. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, the first handful of people that you kill all leave actual for realsies corpses. Due to engine constraints of games at the time, and probably still a lot of games now, to be honest, the, pretty much all shooters and games that had lots of enemies that you would destroy would have some way of dealing with the corpses afterwards. Most games just abstracted this away, and whenever you weren't looking, would just remove corpses from the game. Some didn't even bother with hiding that, and, you know, corpses would just fade away. It's a nice game of tug of war. It's nice that these, like, traditional peasant occupations and sports and games are still thriving in this, lonely part of Europe. Also, that is just straight up an ogre. So, with the lake monster, it's pretty reasonable to assume that that was a newt or something that accidentally got infected with the parasite and grew to super big size because of it. But is that what happens to, like, any human if they live long enough after getting infected? Or is there something else going on? Is this just an actual ogre that's been infected with the parasite? I mean, it has been infected with the parasite, as we'll see in a moment. Now, I'm not sure if this will work. Oh, but it did. Fantastic. See these little houses? These little huts have a bunch of useful stuff in. And if, you know, this chap, the world's largest, Spain's largest boy, there might be bigger ones elsewhere, you don't know. Anyway, he smashes them if you hide in there, so what we want to do is stun him, run inside, grab the stuff, because there's some pretty good stuff. Hey, it's that dog.
Hey, it's that dog.
That was not entirely intentional. But yeah, if you rescue the dog, it shows up here to help you out. And it's not massively helpful, but generally speaking it'll distract the ogre whenever you're trying to do something, which I clearly am. So yeah, he'll start smashing these if I spend too long in them, and if he smashes them, you don't get to grab the loot, so best to do that first. And yeah, so what I want to know is this just within the context of Resident Evil's universe, do just, like, ogres and giants exist? Are they just, you know, hanging out in the remote parts of Europe where nobody's hunted them? Are there dragons? Is this what I'm supposed to believe? Because I don't see why one guy would grow this big. Presumably it had a different starting point than any of the villagers. And we can conclude that because later on we will actually see the stage 3 villagers whose parasites are big enough and grown enough to just actually leave them and continue the life cycle. Whereas this guy clearly... oh boy. I like that it says shake off, but you just stab him instead. So yeah, what's up with this dude? Anyway, I like that interpretation. I'm gonna go with that. There are just actual giants in Europe, and these guys found one. So, damage to the giant himself isn't actually what matters for this. What we need to do is kill the parasite, because that's what's keeping him alive. If you shoot him enough, he gets stunned, as I'm sure you've noticed. And after getting stunned, he, just take care of these. And after getting stunned, the parasite comes out. So generally speaking, you want to use a rapid-fire, low-damage weapon to stun him, and then switch out to something that does a lot of damage when you have the chance to hit the thing. So I like to use the TMP and then switch to the rifle, but the shotgun's a good option as well. As I mentioned, this is a pretty easy boss fight. He actually has a number of special attacks he can do, but it's pretty much RNG as to when and how he does them. So I got pretty lucky that he didn't use any of them. He can pick up the tree and do a big, like, sweeping area of effect attack. And he can also pick up and throw giant boulders at you. Also, who opened that? Were these gates just on a timer? It's not like there's villagers around to let you out. Perhaps it was that mysterious woman in the red dress from earlier. That's actually not an unreasonable conclusion, considered what we find out later on. Now, this guy actually has some animations after he's dead, but I guess I missed them. So yeah. I'm not going to go much further than this. I'm just going to grab these barrels over here, make sure I haven't missed anything in the boss arena. Of course there's nothing in there. And then I'll head back and save at the shop. So, yeah. What I want to know is the fact that those people left corpses and everyone else boils away into nothingness. They've represented that within the context of the game world. So Leon is actually seeing these people, like, boil away into brown slime, presumably, because otherwise they would have just used the standard abstraction of having them just kind of disappear or vanish or whatever. So, given that, did he just actually just kill some random actual people? I don't know how he's gonna square this one with the board, you know. He's gonna have to do one shitload of paperwork when he gets back home, is what I'm saying. And, yeah, that's all for today. I will catch you next time. Bye!